Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Yasmin Kamila Eka Anugrah. I'm from 12 Social Class 1 and my student number is 34. Today, I would like to present about narrative text and recount text. Let's start. The first topic, I will to explain about narrative text. Narrative text in an imaginative story to entertain people. The purpose of narrative texts are to amuse, to entertain, to teach us to have a good characters, and to make us learn something from the story. Type of narrative text. The type of narrative text have four types. There are fairy tales, folk tales, fable, and legend. The example of story fairy tales is Cinderella. And then the example of story folk tale is Sangkuriang. And the example of fable is The Ant and the Dove. And the example of legend is the legend of Banyuwangi. Generic structure of narrative text. The generic structure of narrative text have four structures. The first is orientation. It is about the opening paragraph where the characters of the story are introduced. The second is complication, where the problem in the story develops. The third is resolution, where the problems in the story is solved. And the fourth is coda or reorientation. It is about the lesson from the story. Language features. The number one is adverb of time. The example is once upon a time, one day, and a long time ago. The number two is past tense. It's like he lived in the jungle and she saw a big house. The number three is specific character. It's like Aladdin, Cinderella, and other. The number four is direct speech. It's like, why are you crying, my friends? And, oh God, let me come out. The number five is time conjunction. The example is then and when. And the number six is action verbs. The example is killed, cry, and saw. This is the example of narrative text. This type of narrative text is fairy tales. The title is Cinderella. Let's read. Once upon a time, lived a girl. The name is Cinderella. She lived with her stepmother and stepsister. Her stepmother and stepsister treat her badly. One day, Prince of Kingdom invited all girls to the ball. Cinderella wanted to go there, but she did not have beautiful dress. Oh God, I don't have a dress. Her fairy godmother helped her. She changed her dress into beautiful ones. Then Cinderella came to the ball. A prince fell in love with her. They got married and lived happily ever after. After reading this text, we know that the paragraph 1 is orientation, the paragraph 2 is complication, and the paragraph 3 is resolution. And then in this text, we can see the language feature. It's like adverb of manner. In this text of Cinderella is once upon a time. And then specific character in this text is Cinderella, stepmother, stepsister, prince, and a fairy godmother. And then action verb in this text is treat, invite, change, help, and came. The time conjunction in this narrative text is then. And all the text of Cinderella is used the past tense. So let's move to the second discussion. In the second topic, I will to explain about the recount text. Recount text is a text which retells event or experience in the past. The purpose of recount text are to share unique or unusual experience, to retell something unforgettable, to give information about an accident, and to make the readers learn something. The kinds of recount text. The kind of recount text has three kinds. There are the number one, personal recount. This usually retell an event that the writer was personally involved in. The number two is factual recount. It is recording an incident. The example is a science experiment, police report, and etc. The number three is imaginative recount. Is writing an imaginary role and giving details of event. The example is a day in the life of a pirate and how I invite and blah 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 and etc. Generic structure of recount text. In the generic structure of recount text have three structures. There are the first, orientation. It gives the readers the background information needed to understand the text, such as who was involved, where it happened, and when it happened. The second is events. It's a series of events ordered in a chronological sequence. The third is reorientation, a personal comment about the event or what happened in the end. Language feature of recount text. The number one is past tense. The example is, I went to Bali last week, and then I spent my holiday in Bandung, and then we were very happy. The number two is adverb of time. It's like last week, 2 years ago, 5 months ago, and etc. The number three is action verb. It's like played, work, and book. And the number four is conjunction. The example is after that, then, and next. When writing the recount text, you should, number one, focus on individual people. The example is use the word I or we, my group, my family, and etc. The number two is use words which indicate when, it's like after lunch, and where the events took place, it's like in the set. The number three, write in the past tense. The example is had and visits. The number four, use action words. The example is went and helped. This is the example of recount text. This type of recount text is personal recount. The title is A Trip to the Zoo. Let's read. Yesterday, my family and I went to the zoo to see the elephant. When we got to the zoo, we went to the shop to buy some food to give to the animals. After getting the food, we went to the nocturnal house where we saw birds and reptiles which only come out at night. Before having lunch, we went for a ride on the elephant. It was a thrill to ride it. Dad fell off when he let go of the rope, but he was okay. During the lunch, we fed some birds in the park. In the afternoon, we saw the animals being fed. When we returned home, we were very tired but happy. It was because we had so much fun, activities at many places at the zoo. In this text, we know that the lines 1 is orientation, the lines 2, 3, 4, and 5 is event, and the line 6 is resolution. And then in this text, we can see a language feature is like adverb of time. In this text is yesterday. Participant is my family and I. Adverb of place is the zoo. This conjunction is when, after, before, during. And then action verb is got, when, fell off, let, fed, saw, and return. And then this recount text is all of that use of past tense. So the conclusion of narrative text and recount text have a similarities and difference. The similarities of narrative text and recount text are the number one, both recount text or narrative text are the same as text in the English that tells of events or events in the past. The number two, both of these texts use the past tense or tense that is related to the past tense because they both tell event or events in the past. The number three, the purpose of narrative text and recount text is to retell events or events that occurred in the past. The number four, the structure of the two texts is almost the same. There are starting with the orientation, character introduction, and also the setting of the story. And the number five, the linguistic characteristics of the two texts are the same. The difference between narrative text and recount text are the number one, narrative text consists of orientation, complication, resolution, and coda, while recount text consists of orientation, event, and reorientation. The number two, narrative text presents a conflict in the story, while recount text does not present conflict and only describe the sequence of events that occurred in detail. And the number three, narrative text has an uncertain tense because it used the sentence once upon a time. It means because it used the sentence once upon a time is different from the recount text where the time of an event is certain. So this is my presentation about narrative text and recount text. Thank you for the attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.